Hey guys, hope you're doing well. So I'm just gonna do like a quick check-in and see what spirit has for us. I was actually just going to lay down. I just finished watching a TV show. I was going to lay down and I just got guided to like do a reading really quick. I'll briefly talk about kind of like what's coming up right now. A lot of like racing thoughts, a lot of fears and stuff like that are coming up, a lot of insecurities. Most of this is unknown. A lot of your intuition and things are being blocked at this time, or where you're feeling kind of guidance or energy and stuff like that. A lot of like past things are coming back to trigger you right now. People, situations, feelings, emotions, like all that's kind of coming back up. It's definitely reflecting things from the past. You might be having old people pop up though, either contacting you or popping up in your social media or things like that, or hearing old people's names, shit like that. There's, for some of you, if that's happening, like there's something you're learning or there's something you're releasing with that situation if it's triggering you. What else did they tell me? That's pretty much all I got right now. So I guess it's better when I do readings when I'm tired, because I feel like I could just talk like a million fucking things. All right, let's just pull some cards and see what messages they have. Okay, I guess we're, this one too? Okay, I guess we're getting all these. Like this, like this. You want me to do another one or no? Okay, so on the bottom, this too. We have increased friends and colleagues status quo. It feels like you guys are going down like a path and you might be seeing, like you might be having perception changes and like looking at relationships as more intentional and where they hold value and stuff like that. And as you're going down this path, it almost feels like it's a lot different than you've normally went down. It feels like definitely as you're releasing conditioning and you're kind of choosing your heart, you might be kind of having people notice your changes or your energetic shifts or your perceptions or the way you communicate, things like that. Because obviously as we grow and we heal trauma and things like that, we respond different, you know, we do things in a different way. And it feels like maybe there's some conflict with friends or family or something, relationships where people don't really understand why you're making the choices you're making. But Spirit's saying like follow your own path. Like your own path is going to lead you to a beautiful place and you know that. So don't really allow other people to like define or deter what you're doing with your life and where you're going. Like it's your life to live. Anybody who's trying to control that probably feels out of control with their own lives. But one of the things that I think is important to tell people is like set your boundaries. And some people, it feels like some of you guys need to release people and like let them go. But some of you where it's like it's not an unhealthy relationship, there's maybe just some boundary issues, is like having a conversation and saying, look, like this is my life, I'm making the choices that I'm making, I'm not telling you how to live your life and like telling you how to make the choices like that you're making with your life, but I understand that you're strong enough to make your own choices and that you're empowered enough and that, you know, you're smart enough to do that. And I appreciate you stop trying to dictate and like the same, because I'm saying this really fucked up, but like, I'm sure you guys understand the gist of what I'm saying. Like I heard it so clear in my head and then I'm communicating it and it's just like, brr, 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 brr. But like, it's very disempowering when somebody's trying to tell you how you should live your life. It's very controlling and manipulative, if I'm going to be honest. But a lot of times people just don't have boundaries. They don't really have self-awareness, so they don't realize like how they're trying to do that. But what they don't realize is also very disempowering that they think that they know what's better for your life than you, because they don't understand your journey. They don't live it. They only hear, you know, bits and pieces of it. So whatever way is best for you, I would explain that to them and, you know, kind of take it from there. You guys know what you need to do. So I'll leave it at that. Okay, we got back and forth. Then we got the loving man lost, and then we got professional assistants playing it safe. They had me like laid out like this for whatever reason. So I actually posted about this on Instagram and Facebook earlier, and I said, excuse me, I got this message. So I'm guessing maybe somebody needed more information or clarity or just like a little another like nudge with this. It's pretty much the same exact message. It's like, what is it that you want and you desire? Okay. Like you got to stand in like you got to stand firm with your decision, right? Like if you're doing something from your heart and you're doing something that you know that you really want and it's something that's good for you, then stop going back and forth with it. Like stop going back and forth. Like, am I making the right choice or not? Because it feels like this inner dialogue of some type of trigger happens or something happens where you don't see something or it's conflicting with what you've, envisioned or what you want or stuff like that. And so it's like making you kind of run away and go backwards, or a lot of you, it feels like more so thoughts and fears that are coming up. So you're like, oh, I kind of want to run away and shit like that. But what I was trying to explain in like the post is that, okay, hold on. Let me get comfy. So look, if you have like, we'll just say a relationship, because I feel like it's just so easy to comment on this, but like obviously any other, situation, career, business, anything else works for this, okay? So it's like you want a healthy relationship, like a soulmate relationship, all this stuff. When you have deeper feelings and deeper traumas and conditionings where you have certain perceptions on, relationships and they always don't work out, or people cheat, or people don't love you, or people use you and shit like that. What happens is when you have the unhealed trauma below the surface, when you have a person who is very loving and kind to you, you question their motives and their intentions. You can't handle it. You run away or you sabotage it in some way. And you don't even know you're doing that because your trauma is trying to keep you safe, okay? And like what you've experienced, it's basically your inner child is trying to prevent the same thing from occurring. So you don't even know you're doing it. So you could actually have that right in front of your face, but you wouldn't be able to recognize that's what it is because your mind is not thinking in that way. Like your ego is not processing in that way. So basically what happens is whenever this is set for you, you usually have a vision or you usually have this soul pulling or whatever it is toward whatever it is you're desiring, okay? And then what happens is every single conditioning and blockage and anything that prevents you from having this starts getting triggered and coming up, which is why the journey is so difficult, because all these repressed beliefs and perceptions and traumas and all this bullshit is now coming to the fucking surface, and it's uncomfortable and it's confusing and it's scary and it's all these things you've never had to fucking deal with. Oh God, that felt so good. My shoulder just like cracked. It felt so good. Oh, I need to get a massage soon. Anyway. Okay, so that's the whole reason why it's so long and it's so hard. Okay, that's what she said. I have to say it. I don't fucking care if it's unprofessional, because whatever. Okay. Even at fucking like 2 in the morning, I'm still like a witty bitch. Okay. Jesus Christ. Get on track, Brittany. Fuck. So like basically it's bringing you what you want. And the other thing people don't realize is look, like we try to avoid the discomfort of like, can we just have this? Can we just have this? And I won't feel upset. I won't feel insecure. I won't feel all these things. All those things are still below the surface. Those things are feelings you have in the present moment because they relate to trauma from the past you have not released and dealt with. Okay. So even if you got what you wanted, you'd still fucking sabotage and you'd still have those same exact things that you're reacting out of. So basically what's going on is you're releasing it, you're seeing your conditioning, you're changing your perceptions, you're growing and healing, you're internally growing stable and strong. And then what's also happening is it's setting that foundation where you have new coping skills, you have new perceptions, you have new ways of thinking and living and believing. So whenever romance or, whatever opportunity comes in for you, you can handle shit that comes your way because you have the skills to use it now. Whereas like you want this to be lasting, you want this to be stable, you want this to be long-term or lifelong or, whatever it is, or where it's this now and it just keeps growing and growing, right? So you want these things, but in order to have them, you have to have the stability. You have to have the tools. You have to release all the stuff that's blocking you. So you're releasing all that and you're building this foundation for the future. And a lot of you, especially soul relationships, but even like career paths or businesses or things like that, jobs, whatever it is, like a lot of us, the light workers, especially. So if you're a light worker watching this, which most people who watch this do, unless you're one of those people who stalk me and have bad intentions, but none of the messages are probably for your ass anyway. But for the people who actually watch it because they're trying to get help and they have good intentions, you are probably a light worker, which is probably why you're guided to my page. When we're going through all these fucking dark night of the soul, whatever we want to call them in the spiritual community, right? It's actually setting us up for a soul path. So the job, the career, the business, the relationship, the, traveling, the fun stuff, all of it all relates to our soul path and our purpose here. So as we're releasing all these blockages, we're actually building all that stuff for the future. We just can't see it. Okay. So like go in your head. What is it that I fucking want? And then remind your ass every time you go backwards, you get triggered, the fears come up. This is what I want. This is what I want. I'm going to breathe through this shit. I go through this too. I only got this message today if it makes you feel any better. I do this same shit. And like a few months ago, I was like, I'm not fucking letting anything. Like I'm trusting my intuition. It was so strong. And then spirits just been hitting me with they're like laughing. They've been hitting me with all kinds of shit where I was like, man, I am so like, my mind is just like, I feel like I'm going to fucking explode. Yeah, it was like just craziness, whatever the last few weeks. But where I realized I do the same shit, like at least recently I've been doing the same shit, and it's something I used to do in the past too. And when I kind of went into it, I was just like, oh, that's a fear. And I'm like, but I don't even believe the fear. So I was like, all right, we got to just keep reminding ourselves, like, Brittany, stop your shit. Like, what do we need to do to calm down and work through the fears and all the shit? Okay. Anyway, we got the loving man and loss. And then we got professional assistance and playing it safe. Is this the feminine and masculine? Didn't pull it that way, but we shall see. It does actually feel like that. It feels like, it can be the masculine, but it doesn't have to be. So I'm just going to say general. Wanting to step into this loving, nurturing energy. So feminine or masculine, whoever it is, you or another person, is wanting to step into this very like loving energy, and it might be a masculine. Step into this just like loving energy where they're open, where they're giving, where like they're allowing things to kind of like be happy. They don't feel like they're in that place right now, but that's what they're like dreaming about and wanting. But it feels like this emotional loss or grief. I mean, we got the loss card. It feels like there's a lot of conflict there because it's like they know that they desire something. They want something that's very loving, heart-centered, but they also want to be that person themselves that they've kind of really hid from, like not being authentic to who they are. So maybe this is like you or another person where you are a giver, you're like a very nurturing or loving person, and you've kind of had your defense up or your walls up because people have hurt you. You're scared of opening your heart because you're scared of getting hurt or whatever. So it's kind of like that type of energy, but it's also like that's kind of the energy, but it's also the desire to be the person that you were or that you always have been, that you kind of like hide because of that, and you put walls up. And it also still feels like this just wanting to be this loving person with this open heart energy and just doing things from a place of love. But it feels like this grieving, like maybe a relationship recently ended, a friendship recently ended, a job change, maybe somebody moved, something kind of transpired where you're grieving or letting something go. Like there's definitely like a loss. That's pretty literal. Professional assistance and playing it safe. So how many of you guys are playing it safe right now? Some of these cards are very literal today, if you notice. How many of you guys are playing it safe? You're sitting there and you're like, you know what? It's kind of easier if I walk away from this, or it's kind of easier if I don't move forward with this, or you try to find a seemingly easier route to go than the one that you know is best for you because you're scared of failing, you're scared of how things are going to work out. It feels whatever you're scared of, it's a lot of unknown. It's having to like release and surrender and trust that it's all going to work out. And it feels like this very like guarded, I just kind of want to stay in my comfort zone energy, like I'm scared to actually move forward. But for some of you who are changing like jobs or you're changing things, it feels like you're trying to go into this like safety comfort zone instead of what you actually want. So what I'm getting is like some of you guys are getting spirit messages. You could be getting messages like, in readings like this, obviously. It could be, friends or people that you're close with, or It could just be random ass people, like people come into the crystal store. I was giving somebody shit today about it. I'm like, you're not supposed to be doing this. Actually, funny enough, kind of the same message for her earlier, but it could be something like that. It also could be in your dreams. You're getting messages, or spirit could be giving you messages directly. You might be seeing them, but I more so get like you're getting spiritual guidance on that, and seeing how you keep playing like small. Like, why are spirits saying like, why are you running away from what you want? Like, what you really want. Stop your shit. They're saying that in a nice way, obviously. Like, stop your shit. I'm trying to figure out, because I have like a few decks calling me, but I'm way too fucking tired to pull from all of them. You can tell, like, I'm like a little kid. You know how like kids are when they go to sleep, like when they're really tired and they're like, they just can't talk this. You can tell my communication, my level of communication is horrible when I'm tired. I can't fucking function properly. All right, let's just pull like some last messages. All right. Shadow, shocker. That's probably why they're pulling like the cards so literally too, because, yeah, hold on. These two? Damn, guys, it's the same fucking messages. I love when they come up. Okay, we got awareness with mental conflict and hope. Literally the exact same message that I posted earlier. So I'm guessing that either, because I'm going to post this on YouTube, so I'm guessing either somebody that's going to need to see this on YouTube doesn't follow me on Instagram and Facebook and didn't see that post I did, or somebody who did see it needs like some extra validation, or they needed me to explain it different. Obviously, even, it's not just words, like it's energy. So as I'm communicating and the energy I'm putting off, you can feel it. So at a subconscious level, that's why like at times you're emotionally affected by stuff before you read it or before you see it, because you can feel the energy, and then your mind, like visually you'll start seeing it, and then it connects afterward. It feels like I've been talking about, a lot of you guys are in mental conflict right now. It feels like some of you guys are losing like hope and faith in situations, but a bunch of you also feel like you're getting clarity to actually be more hopeful. Like, even though you're kind of going back and forth, or you have racing thoughts, or you have a lot of fears and shit coming up, like you're also seeing that like there is light at the end of the tunnel. And like, you're also seeing like the positives of what you actually want. Like, even if you're just daydreaming, like it's still bringing you some type of hope that it might come in. Like, even if you're scared of it or you're worried it's never going to happen, it feels like below the surface, a lot of you guys are like feeling positive that it might actually happen, even though your mind's kind of telling you the opposite. Okay. Oh, Jesus Christ. This fucking energy shit's killing me today. I just got this fucking zap in like my, I don't know what organ that is. Fuck, that hurt. Oh, yeah. I keep getting fucking zaps in my body on and off. Like the last few days, like this energy has been so intense the last few days, like physically. Oh, yeah. Okay, we got shadow and memories of love. Then we got authority, positive movement forward, trapped in fear. Tomato. We got 88 also, which my car thing when I came home from picking up food earlier was 888. And I was like, ooh, okay. Yeah, so with the shadows and memories of love, it feels like you guys are releasing somebody, something. You're grieving a situation, you're releasing somebody or something. It's triggering your shadows. Some of you, this is what I said in the very beginning, is like your past is kind of coming up, and you're kind of having either people from the past or thoughts from the past or things like that. A lot of this is relationship and attachment type stuff. Energy is more so what I'm getting, and how it relates to the relationships you have with other people. It can also be like money too, or career stuff and self-esteem, and how it relates to the way you were raised, to the way your parents kind of talk to you about like failure, the way your parents kind of talk to you about money, or kind of the belief systems and fears they instilled in you, like that type of stuff. But a lot of it also feels relationship stuff, and they're specifically saying confidence. So whatever it is that's kind of popping up from the past right now is helping you to see your shadows, to see those traumas, to see those conditionings, to release them. And it feels like this final release of them. It doesn't feel like that like onion layer that we keep getting, like where it's like one more thing. It feels like you're actually getting to that place where you're like about to be done with these specific traumas. They're not going to keep like coming up over and over and over because you're learning different things from them. It feels like whatever is coming up for you now is going to be like a kind of final release with that. Okay, with authority, positive movement forward, and trapped in fear. This feels like some of you guys, this is not normally what the card means. It feels like some of you guys are really being stubborn and resistant to stepping forward because you're scared. And this is pretty much already what I talked about, so I don't really want to repeat the message. It's like you guys are trapped in your head. Excuse me. It's like you're scared to move forward because you don't understand what's going to happen. You don't know what's going to happen. There's just a lot of inner child fears and stuff coming up. You know, one of the questions you can ask when the fears come up, ask yourself, is this true? Like, is this true? Do I know that this is true? Or is it just like a projection of my past trauma? And when you realize it's a projection of your past trauma, try to feel intuitively into it. Try to feel into the future energy of it and see if it feels fucking like it's going to happen or not. I don't feel like people do that enough, and try to go into it, but like go into it, you know, you don't have to get spirit messages to kind of feel into that and work through fears and see, is this fucking real and is it true or is it not? And the more self-aware you become and the more you ask yourself questions, the faster, like not faster, the easier it is to heal stuff. Like the easier it is to deal with stuff. Like I constantly tell people, you know, I had this conversation the other day with somebody and I just want to talk about it real quick. I'm like, yeah, Spirit gave me a message, and I didn't realize that the way I say things, people apparently have this perception. Other people have told me, yeah, this is true. I'm like, yeah, Spirit gave me Spirit doesn't just give me messages, guys, okay? They're not just like sitting here constantly popping messages for me. Like, I know probably the way I say it, it sounds like that. No, there will be literally like purging and all kinds of shit coming up or all these feelings coming up, and usually I don't get the message until sometimes hours, sometimes days, sometimes months, years later. Like I don't always get the message. When I share it, it's because I've already gotten the message, obviously, but I don't always get the message. A lot of times when I have this stuff coming up, I struggle to. When I have this stuff coming up, what I do is I ask myself questions, like I literally therapy myself. I ask myself questions like, what am I feeling? Why am I feeling like this? Is this like going on in the present moment? Is it not? I can feel into the energy more so because I've been doing this for so long with myself. I kind of can see some of it, not always, but like I can kind of see some of it. So I'm like, okay, like what is this that I need to see? Like, is this actually going on or is this not going on? Is this like something I need to communicate or is it my own, you know, stuff? And I ask myself questions. Just ask yourself questions and be honest with yourself. Don't lie to yourself. Be honest with yourself with the answers. And that's how you get to know yourself. Sometimes when I'm really struggling, well, that's not true. I ask Spirit for shit all the time, but they don't always tell me. But they're like laughing at they don't always tell me, guys. Like most of the time I have to go through shit alone, just like whatever, and I'll go through it by myself and then I'll get the message afterward and then people start going through it so I can tell you guys the answer. So most of the time I actually have to go through it first and go through it without guidance for me to work through stuff so then I can help other people and give you guys the clarity and like answers on it. So they don't just give me messages, but sometimes they do. Once in a while, I shouldn't say once in a while, I do get messages like when I'm getting lately, especially things from the past. This has been coming up just the last few months, like where I'll get like a pop of a message just random as fuck about something from the past and how my perception on it was really fucking inaccurate. And like, yeah, stuff like that. Things that I need to help me with like healing and triggers and understanding them. But I don't always get future stuff, you know, like I've had visions about stuff. Like I have no clarity. Like I am just as in the dark, like about what's going on in the last few weeks. They've like blocked me from feeling shit. They blocked me from seeing shit. I've been just getting really triggered with my own bullshit. I have no idea what's going to happen. Kind of the way I handle it is I know that everything's happening to like help me, even when it's fucking frustrating. I know everything's happening to help me and is bringing me where I want to go. And all the stuff that like I remember from the past, I'm just going to trust that it's all going to come true. I mean, they told me on like the 27th that like the visions I have were still going to come true. So like, I trust that. Do I have my doubts? Fuck yeah. Like just the other day, I was like, no, I'm making the wrong choice. I can't do this. And that's why I said I only got the clarity on the back and forth shit today where I'm like, oh shit. Okay. So, you know, I go through it too, but I just think it's funny when people like tell me, like, they have this perception that spirit just gives me answers. They don't. Like, they don't. I'm like, all right, maybe I need to like clarify that, because I mean, it's pretty funny, but it's not. Because I'll tell you this too, like, everybody's like, oh, it's so great. No, I get answers on shit I don't want, things like about other people, like things I wish I didn't know, things that like I can't talk about, you know what I'm saying? Like, because it's going to fuck with somebody else's thing. And that happened with somebody I'm close with that I've never had this conversation with them about it, but they popped like 2 different things for me. Like one was it like a month or 2 ago? And then one like months and months ago. And I asked them like after a little while, I'm like, why are you guys like giving me this? Because I can't talk to them about it and like tell them what's going on, because they have to go through what they need to go through. And it was more so like they told me weeks later, obviously, that they needed me to they're like part of it. I don't know the full thing. Maybe I'm gonna give them clarity in the future or something. I don't know. But like part of it was for me to feel the energy in my body and transmute it, so the other person can feel it and get like the download of it or the code, like however. I don't understand how energy and all the shit actually works. I just know like what it does. I just don't always understand like how it works per se, but something with that, and I'm just like, oh shit. So like is not always nice. Like I also feel people's traumas in my body, you know, when we're talking about stuff, or even when we're not talking about stuff. If somebody thinks about it, a lot of times I'll feel it in my body. Like is not that easy. Like I think a lot of people have this perception that like you just get messages and life's just easier for you. I'm like, it's actually not that easy. Like it's a lot. And like even today I have like all these random ass like thoughts just keep, it's not even thoughts, it's words that just keep repeating in my mind. And it's somebody I'm energetically helping. I don't know who I'm helping, but I'm feeling all their fear energy and everything. Nothing I can fucking do about it. I'm like, hey guys, can you help me calm this the fuck down? I'm like, why do you guys keep saying it? I have no idea. So anyway, but if you're stuck in fear, like just work through it. Ask yourself questions like, is it real? Is it not? Stand in your power though. Stand in your power. And I love that this came out because we have the loving man, and this is typically the emperor card, and the emperor is the stability, the protection, you know, stuff like that. So just because you're in fear now doesn't mean you will always be. Things are moving forward. And even if you can't, I just want to pull like one more quick message. Even if you can't, see clearly right now, doesn't mean you're not moving forward. Like sometimes it does feel like we're going backwards, but we're really not going backwards. We're just seeing things in a different way, or we're healing something in a different way. All right. Yeah. All right. Yeah, or no, we're not doing the bottom. We got intuition, foundation, divine masculine. Look at every single deck for getting the masculine. We got the loving man, which is basically the only card in the deck in the quantum oracle that's like that. And then I pulled from the psychic tarot, which is basically the emperor card, the divine masculine, and this is also the divine masculine. So the divine masculine is just showing the fuck up tonight. Okay, intuition, foundation, divine masculine. So this is kind of like what I already said. It's like trusting your intuition, moving forward with what you know. Like, what is it that you desire? Like, I already explained this. Like, you're building the foundation. Like, everything you're working toward is clearing all the shit. So basically, if you think about this, like, in the foundation is like the tree. Like, all of the bugs, all of the things that are affecting your roots. If you're a tree, the things that are affecting your roots that would damage it, that would cause it to die, that would fuck the whole tree up, is being cleared right now. And then what's happening is it's being replenished with other things to make it stable so it can fucking survive for the rest of its life. Okay? Like that. I know that's like a weird analogy, but you understand what I'm saying. I'm getting tired, so it's, yeah. The divine masculine, it definitely feels like the masculines are kind of, they're not behind. They feel like they're behind, even though they're really not behind. It feels like they're just going through a lot of like grief and emotional loss and stuff like that. And it's like, they're not actually behind, even if it seems that way. They're going through like, it almost feels like this deep ass emotional purge, but it's because they've been kind of stuck in place for so long. And it feels like just one day spirit's going to like open shit up and just like switch shit for them. Like where after they're actually sitting with the stuff and dealing with it, which they feel like most of them are, Oh, connection and self-love with supports underneath it, because they didn't want me to pull it before, but it probably has to do with the masculine. But it's like whenever that happens, it might be like a few days, it might be a few weeks, like something's just going to switch with them. Like after they kind of grieve and heal this, something's going to switch with them, and it feels like it's going to kind of set the path in place for the divine feminine and the divine masculine, and they're about to start their soul journey together probably. So yeah, we'll leave it at that. All right, I gotta go to bed. I'm fucking tired. I hope you guys all have an awesome night or morning whenever you watch this. And just like remind yourself that even when you're like in difficult times and shit is like going on, that like it is all working for your benefit, even when it doesn't seem like it is. Just try to shift your perception and remember every time you were in a difficult like spot before, like it always brought you to where you needed to be, and it brought you the things you always wanted. This one's just like a fucking soul path one, so it's like a long ass term one, like a lifetime type term. That sounds bad, but like in a good way. I'm like, it sounds like a jail sentence. Nah, it's something like good, because what I keep seeing for people is like you're gonna have like some type of, I'll tell you what I'm seeing mostly, take it, you know, if it resonates, is soul connections, divine counterparts coming together, and then they go on their soul mission together. So they do some type of activities together, or they support each other as they're doing kind of their own, but they're somehow working together to collectively help. And then they go on different kind of journeys and create different things together, and it just grows and grows and grows even more. So say like if you start a small business, then it's going to grow to a bigger business, then you're going to expand certain things, and you're going to create and do things together. So especially the feminines, we're definitely coming into a lot more creativity right now. We're in and out of it, but we're definitely coming into it a lot more. If you notice my necklaces, I made this one for the shop today, and I was like, nah, I need that. They're both Herkimers. Actually made my earrings too. Those are Herkimers too. I got like a Herkimer diamond association. They're not actual diamonds, they're crystals from New York, but yeah, I fucking love them. I was gonna sell them. I'm like, you know, I really want to keep these. So like actually most of the day at the shop today, I was making like jewelry, and then I kept like a bunch of it for myself. But like, if you don't like, you know, if you're making shit, I would hope you love what you make to sell. Like I only sell good shit. So like, I don't know, I was excited. So I got new bling bling for myself. All right, I'm going to bed. I hope you guys all have an awesome night.